Good morning, Cougars. This is Mr. Martinez with the morning announcements. Good morning, Jake.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Bentley's back for Big Day Friday. Good morning, Bentley.
Good morning. How
All
are
right.
you?
I'm great, thank you. Let me get your flag ready there, Jake. And take it away.
All right. Place your right hand over your heart and begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Happy Friday to everybody. I'm super excited. This is a big day in our house. One of our favorite restaurants has been closed since the quarantine started, and they open today. So we have big plans to get some of our favorite Mexican food in the Valley. So really excited about that. How about you guys? You have big days today?
Yeah, I mean, it's Friday, so.
Okay, yeah, so big day Friday. The weather's going to be great. It's like 80 degrees. It's a little breezy by my place, but it should be a beautiful day. And this is a big day for fifth grade. Bentley, what's happening after school today?
After school today is the fifth grade spelling bee.
Woohoo! 3 o'clock, right? You got a spelling word for Jake this morning?
Yes. Good luck, Jake.
All right.
Congratulations. Congratulations to all the fifth grade students competing in today's fifth grade spelling bee. Congratulations.
All right. Congratulations. Grations.
Yes.
Finish the sandwich. You got to finish the sandwich. You got to say the word.
Congratulations.
Boom. Okay.
Correct.
Good. So congratulations to everybody today competing. We wish you all the best. Remember, just being in the competition is winning itself. So I'm going to be emailing all the directions for the Zoom. It'll go in my email this morning. And it's at 3 o'clock on Zoom with Mr. Gordon, Mrs. Tawil, and the whole gang. So it should be a lot of fun. Boys, today's Friday. We always have a special guest. Are you ready for us to bring in our special guest?
Yep.
All right, let's bring her in. Let's bring her in. All right, and coming in on this wonderful special guest Friday, joined by her son, Axel. This is Dr. Liberman. Good morning, doctor.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, doctor, we're joined with our student body president. That's Jake.
Hi, Jake.
Hi. Good morning.
And our vice president. That's Bentley.
Good morning.
Hi, Bentley.
Hi.
I like your signage. That's very oh, and your stethoscope. I've got my stethoscope too, but yours is great.
Both of you are ready.
Yeah.
Axel, tell us before we start talking to mommy, how's the distance learning going with you in your classroom? Who's your teacher?
Miss Pointer.
And so, do you have a meeting with Mrs. Pointer today, or yes? Tell us about that.
Do you get to today's your share day, right?
Today is my share day.
Okay. Do you already know what you're going to share?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Okay, great. Well, we look forward to that. Shout out to Mrs. Pointer for sure this morning. Listen, everybody, we are joined by Dr. Liberman. She is currently the attending physician and an advocacy director at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. She specializes in pediatric emergency medicine. She is also an assistant professor at the Keck School of Medicine at USC. And most importantly, out of all those, she is mommy to Axel right there with her. And I believe maybe an incoming kindergartner. Is that true?
Yeah.
So two little cougars.
Yeah, he's going to be 5 in August.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So listen, we've got questions that come from our virtual comment box. So that means that parents, teachers, students, they can submit questions all week. Bentley, our vice president, he's in charge of pulling those questions out each week and then putting them together. And we've got a number of questions for you. Are you ready for Bentley to take over?
I think so.
All right, Bentley, take it away.
Okay. Good morning, Axel. Good morning, Mrs. Lieberman. Our first question is, what are your responsibilities at Children's Hospital LA, and how many coronavirus patients have you treated?
Okay. So we'll take that question in 2 steps. So to answer the first part of your question, Children's Hospital Los Angeles, just like a lot of big hospitals, has three main goals. One is clinical, so that's taking care of patients. The second is teaching. So we're a teaching hospital. We train doctors in training, nurses in training. And then the third is research. So there are some people who do all three. There's some people who do one. There's some people who do two. And I actually do all three of those things. So my clinical role in taking care of patients is in the emergency department at our children's hospital. So I do shifts in the emergency department. Like last night, I had a shift from 1 o'clock in the afternoon until 10 o'clock last night. Tonight, I worked the overnight shift, which is always a rough way to start a weekend. But that's because the emergency department is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then when we do our teaching, we do teaching with our residents, our training, doctors in training, but I also have medical students. And because we are a hospital that's affiliated with USC, we can teach undergraduate courses. So I have a couple undergraduate courses where those students can come and do research with us in the emergency department. And then finally, my research in particular is looking at social determinants of health and health services delivery, which are kind of complicated concepts, but the goal of it is to make sure that we take care of the whole person and not just their specific medical problem, and looking at it from a population level. So those are my main three priorities in my job at CHLA. And then to answer your second question about how many coronavirus patients have I treated, that's complicated because we have a lot of patients that, well, not a lot, but we have some patients who might have coronavirus and we don't actually know it because they're asymptomatic. And maybe you guys have heard that word before, but there are a lot of people, fortunately, who aren't getting sick, even if they're infected. And so we do see patients that come to our hospital and they might be very well, and it's possible that they have coronavirus. So we always have to take all the precautions necessary and assume that people could have it, even if they're not sick. And so I brought some props with me today to show you guys. But when we're in the emergency department now, unlike normal times, we actually have to wear extra protective equipment, okay? So this is my face shield, all right? That keeps all the respiratory droplets away. I have glasses too. If I don't feel like wearing the face shield, it does the same thing. And then I actually have to wear 2 masks. I'm not gonna put them on because my nose is starting to get really sore from the masks, but we have 2 masks. So I wear this one, which is a special N95 mask. And then I wear this one on top, which can be thrown away, okay? So the bottom line is that I don't actually know how many coronavirus patients I've taken care of, but what I can tell you is that we think we've had about 20 patients who have tested positive who have come through our emergency department since this started.
Wow.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm actually gonna squeeze a question in if that's okay with you, Mr. Martinez.
Well, we're live, so go ahead, Bentley.
Why are there 2 masks that you wear?
Good question. So the first mask, the white one right here, it's not always white, but this is a special mask called an N95, and maybe you've heard about that in the news.
Yes.
They're a hot commodity right now, and we don't have enough of them. But they're special masks that have an extra special seal, and they're really good at preventing passage of illness. And so that's the really protective one. And we want to make sure that we preserve those because we don't have a lot of them. So we end up having to use them over and over again. And so we'll put this one on top, and this one is not a special kind of mask. It's a normal mask that we use all the time. And we have a lot more of these. So this one, if it gets dirty or after every shift, we can throw this one away while we keep this one nice and clean.
Okay. Our second question is, why does the coronavirus keep spreading and why does it take so long to come up with a way to stop it?
Okay, this is a frustrating question, I think, for all of us, right? So again, 2 parts to that question. So the answer to your first question, which is why does it keep spreading? So viruses are living organisms, and maybe you guys have heard about viruses from Mrs. Belatesh, but they're living organisms just like humans are living organisms, and their goal is to survive. So the best way for viruses to survive is to spread from one person to another. So the virus is trying very hard to spread as fast as it can so that it can stay alive. Now, the biggest challenge to getting it to stop is learning about it. And we're all learning about it, and it's a brand new virus. That's why it's called a novel coronavirus. So we've never seen this particular virus before, this strain of the coronavirus before. So we're trying as fast as we can, and all the smartest scientists are working really hard to try and learn as much as they can about this virus. And we, in general, our goal is to create a vaccine because that's the safest and the best way to prevent people from getting sick in the first place. But vaccine development, which is a whole nother topic, is a really complicated process. And because there's so many people working on this right now, I think the process for vaccine development for coronavirus is going to be much faster than it's been for other viruses. So there's 3 steps. First, they have to try and create a vaccine in a lab. Then they have to use healthy volunteers to make sure that that vaccine is safe and effective. Then they make it bigger to thousands of volunteers to continue to make sure that it's safe and effective. And then after they've determined that, then they have to continue monitoring for any side effects or adverse outcomes for a long, long time. And so that's why it's been so hard to contain this virus, is because it's brand new and we don't have any vaccines to be like our weapon against the virus yet, but we're hoping that happens soon.
Yes, of course.
All right. The third question, when and in what way will it be possible for kids to have playdates again?
Okay. So I wanted to clarify one thing first. So play dates, we always think of them as in person, right? But right now, I think everybody is being really creative with play dates and even creative with learning. And so hopefully most of you guys have had an opportunity to have virtual play dates where you're not necessarily in the same room, but you're still able to spend time socializing with your families and with your friends. We like to use the term, we're trying to use the term physical distancing instead of social distancing, because we want to make sure everybody understands that you can still socialize and you should still make sure that you connect with your friends and your family, but you just have to do it with safe distance between you. But to answer your question, I wish I knew exactly when we would be able to have play dates again and what they would look like. There are other countries that have started opening up more than the United States has, and so it'll be interesting to see what happens in those countries, but I suspect that gradually people will expand their bubble. So right now, you might be home with your immediate family, your parents and your brothers and sisters, and then gradually you might add more people to that bubble and have smaller size play dates. So no, 100 people in an assembly kind of play date, but a smaller play date with maybe just your neighbor who's your best friend.
Yes, okay. Our fourth question is, if we go outside for a walk or a bike ride in our neighborhood, do we have to wear a mask and also change clothes and shower afterwards? Does the virus get in our hair?
Okay, so I'm really glad you're talking about going outside, because I think that's so important and so healthy. And I wanted to make sure that you guys understand it's really unlikely that anyone would get coronavirus from being outside. In fact, it's much more likely for you to catch the virus being inside with somebody who's infected rather than outside with somebody who's infected, okay? But you should maintain your physical distance while you're outside. You can definitely go for a walk outside, ride your bike. The most important thing to wear is your helmet, okay? Always wear your helmet. And then I would recommend wearing a mask. And the most important reason for wearing a mask is actually to protect other people from getting sick from you. Not for you from getting sick from other people. So if everybody's wearing a mask, then everybody's protecting the people around them. And then your question about whether the virus gets in your hair. So the good news is that we don't think so. This virus is so tiny and the particles are so small that it's kind of like thinking like of air particles. They really just fall to the ground, okay? You'd have to have a lot of virus in your hair, and you'd have to touch that part of your hair that had the virus, and then you'd have to put your hand on your face. So there's a lot of steps that you would have to go through to get sick from getting virus in your hair, and that would really involve somebody coughing or spitting at you. So I don't think that anyone would be worried about washing their hair after they come in from a bike ride or a walk.
Yes. Okay. Our fifth question is, What can parents and kids do to prepare for being as safe as possible if we are able to be back in classrooms in August?
So I think right now is a good time to practice good hand washing, practice coughing and sneezing into your elbow or into a tissue. Those are really good habits all of the time, but especially right now. And then make sure that you're staying in touch with your pediatrician, your regular doctor, because you want to be up to date on all of your vaccines. So while we're all talking about coronavirus, there are a lot of other infections that people can get. And the last thing we want is to have an outbreak of another virus or another bacteria. So make sure that you're staying up to date on all your vaccines. And then finally, just like right now, if you're sick, you should stay home. We don't want anybody else to get sick from you. So once school starts, it's really going to be important for people to be monitoring their own health on their own to make sure that they're not going to school when they're sick, they're not going to work when they're sick.
All right, the sixth question. What can we do for the kids at the Children's Hospital LA to make them feel better right now?
So I think Carpenter in the past has done some really nice things for kids at CHLA. I think during Community Service Week in the past, you guys have had an opportunity to write postcards or notes to those kids, and I know that they love it. But my biggest recommendation right now is that you should stay healthy so that the doctors and the nurses at CHLA can focus on taking care of the patients that are admitted to the hospital right now.
Following the social or the physical distancing guidelines, staying with your families, and wearing a mask, right? So those are good tips. What's our next question, Bentley?
Our seventh question is, why did you decide to become a doctor? If you weren't a doctor, what job would you have picked?
Okay, so I have a non-exciting answer to that question. When I was in third grade, I did a presentation on Elizabeth Blackwell, and she's the first female to get a medical degree in the United States. She got her medical degree in the 1840s. And now we have, most medical school classes actually have more than 50% women, which is exciting, but not in the 1840s. So I was very inspired by that presentation, and I thought, well, maybe if she did it, sounds like something that maybe I would like to do. So I kept that in the back of my mind. And then I had a really fantastic high school teacher. She actually still teaches anatomy at Westlake High School in Thousand Oaks. And we got to dissect cadavers when I was in high school. So I just continued to expose myself to that and really loved it. So I got the idea when I was in third grade and never really wavered from it. But if I had to do anything else, I used to say I'd want to be a senator. And I think it's because growing up in California, I always had two very strong, intelligent, effective female senators as role models. And I think more recently, though, I'm not sure that that would be something I'd want to do.
You made the right choice.
Okay, our eighth question, last question of the day, and we ask all our guests this. What was your favorite toy or stuffed animal as a little kid?
Okay, so I don't remember this, but I've been told. I didn't have like a pacifier or blanket or anything like that, but oddly enough, I liked this little plastic chicken egg where you'd push the button and the chick would open up. My mom said I was kind of infatuated with this little chick that would open up and make a little chick noise. So
like a little chick Jack in the Box type thing?
Exactly. Kind of weird, but maybe that explains a lot.
Listen, fellas, great job on the questions. Thank you to everybody that submitted a question to our virtual comment box. Dr. Liberman, thank you so much for answering those. Are you aware of the Thunderbirds air show today over Los Angeles?
Yes, I heard that that's happening. Yeah.
It's supposed to happen today at 1:10 this afternoon, and it's in dedication to all the first responders here in Los Angeles. So boys and girls, if you put a little alarm on in the house, try to go outside around 1:10. Look at the skies, and hopefully you'll catch a glimpse of the Thunderbirds. It really is an incredible air show. They're based out of Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas, and I've seen them many times, and it should be a great, great show. Are we all ready for the words of wisdom?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And now for the words of wisdom. Have you ever thought about being an astronaut, a doctor, or the smartest kid in class? And then you said to yourself, I could never do that. I'm not smart enough, or I'm not good enough.
Now listen to a true story about a woman named Carmen Escalante. She's a medical doctor who was raised in a small town in Louisiana and was the oldest of 6 children. Neither of her parents graduated from high school. They always encouraged her to get an education. She grew up and became a doctor at one of the world's most famous cancer centers. Here's her prescription for success.
Nothing is impossible if you set goals and try to do your best.
So listen to the doctor's advice and follow her prescription for success. If you do, anything is possible. Just do the very best you can.
With something to think about, this is Mr. Martinez.
And Bentley.
And Jake.
And Dr. Liberman.
And Axel.
Make it a great day.
Or not.
The choice is yours. Dr. Liberman, thank you so much for getting up early. Axel, have a great day of class with Mrs. Pointer. Bentley, I'm not sure what you're going to do with that stethoscope later, but have a good day with class. And Jake, that hair is getting long, buddy. It looks good. Have a wonderful Friday, everybody. And we'll see you on Monday for the morning announcements.
Thank you.